Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm your host, Noah Chast, alongside David Green and Hunter Pitcoff, here to discuss some of the early surprises in the NBA season. Now, the Golden State Warriors lead the West, sitting at 9-1, and the Toronto Raptors are atop the East at 9-1 as well. Both these teams were expected to do well this season, yet some teams have gotten off to a hotter start than some would have thought. What are some teams that you guys kind of surprised you?
I knew the Denver Nuggets would be good, but not this good. They got off to an 8-1 start. They're top 5 in the NBA in both steals and rebounds. Harris, Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Will Barton are all averaging over 15 points a game. Not to mention Paul Millsap is having a nice season. Barton is shooting 55% from three-point range, which is a really big deal. And Michael Porter Jr. and Isaiah Thomas have not even come back yet. So I think this team will be even better once they come back, and that's building on their 8-1 record.
Hunter, a surprise team from you?
One team that's surprisingly not that bad is the Grizzlies. They're 5-3 right now, but that being said, I don't think they keep it up. They've had a really, really weak schedule. They played Phoenix twice. They played the Hawks. They played the Kings. I don't think they keep it up. They were really bad last year. But if they are going to keep the success, they need to play Jaren Jackson more. He's been phenomenal off their bench. But for the number 4 pick of the draft and his productivity, you got to play him more. You got to, lengthen the leash, so to speak, for the young guy.
Absolutely. So those two teams have exceeded some early expectations, yet other teams came into the season with lofty expectations and are kind of getting off to a rocky start. Who was a surprisingly bad team in the start of the season for you?
I cannot believe how bad the Washington Wizards are doing to start off the season. They're 2-7 to start the season. About a week ago, they gave up 51 points to Steph Curry in 3 quarters. They're second to last in the NBA in rebounds. They're not playing defense. Dwight Howard did just come back though, so maybe he could help turn around their rebounding. And it makes you question how much longer Scott Brooks has coaching this team, especially since they had the chemistry issues last year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Hunter, surprise bad team?
I don't think they're a bad team, but the Utah Jazz are 4-5 right now. I don't think anyone necessarily expected that, but it's not time to click the panic button here because they got off to a really bad start last year as well. Donovan Mitchell's playing great, so is Rudy Gobert. They've also played basically a playoff team every single game throughout their first 9 games. And 6 of their 9 games have been on the road. So once this team gets a little bit of a groove on both ends of the floor, I think they'll be fine.
So are there any teams that you feel are kind of flying under the radar right now and that need to be watched more as the season progresses?
I think we should definitely keep an eye on the Oklahoma City Thunder. They did get off to a 4-4 start, but with all the attention on the teams like the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, the Houston Rockets, I feel this team is definitely flying under the radar. They lead the NBA in steals actually with 11.3 per game, which is impressive. They added Dennis Schroeder over the offseason as well as Nerlens Noel they had last year, so they added depth, and they also have Robertson coming back, so they're going to be a really good defensive team, I think, coming later into the season.
Hunter, who's another under-the-radar team?
I'm going to stick in the Western Conference here. Everyone wanted to write off the Portland Trailblazers this season. I don't know why. They were the 3rd seed last year, and they're currently at the number 3 seed right now. They're 7-3. They've had a pretty tough schedule, nonetheless, are 7-3. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are playing great, and almost this entire roster stayed intact from last season up to now. And if not, they only added better defensive players and more shooting. So Portland is a team that I think is flying under the radar, but I don't know why people are underestimating them.
There's definitely a lot of NBA season left to play, but keep an eye on those Trailblazers. So for Hunter Pitcoff, David Green, Noah Chast, this has been your Penn State Sports Night NBA Update.